welcome to episode 3 of The Happy Medium, a mulling, meandering podcast brought to you by a carefree kid and some old guy.
This guy in the blue shirt and that guy in the red shirt.
You see, he had to let you know, because, it's like, hey, I'm not sure which one is which, but really, man, son of a bitch. There's no way I'm going to say that every time.
The funny thing is, this is actually bringing home, I don't know, the Fire and Ice
Look, I mean, some of it's going to be intentional, some of it's going to be by accident, but most of it's going to be intentional. You got a theme. You just go. You just go with it, man.
This was purely accidental, though, that he's wearing red and I'm wearing blue.
I went to the Salvation Army and got a lot of red shirts. The Salvation Army is like...
It's not purely accidental.
Oh my God. Well, no, I mean, they were all the good ones are the red ones. So that's another happy accident. But I mean, God, it's like men-child all over the world, men-children all over the world should go to the Salvation Army and get some fucking kick-ass shirts. I guess this fucking Robin, got my Batman, got 2 Batman shirts now. One of them I had to buy it separately. Anyway.
You're getting something, they're getting something.
Exactly.
Feel good about yourself.
What's new for you in media?
I feel like we need to...
I am fire! Say it.
I am ice.
He's ice. Oh, let's do that. That's fun.
That was good. I like that. We should make that a regular thing.
Yeah. All right.
So, new in media.
New in media. New for you. What's happening?
New for me. Well, I'm almost done with Parks and Recreation.
That's what was going on the last time.
So,
not too new, but you're digging it.
It's an older show. I'm sure you guys are like, man, what?
Have you seen Community?
I have seen Community.
Okay. Does that? I mean, it feels like the same kind of tone.
All I can say is 6 seasons in a movie. Am I right?
For Community?
Community.
Okay.
That's always the tagline. They threw that out throughout the series. And that's what brought, because they ended it at season 4 or 5.
Okay.
They brought it back.
I'm going to give it a shot one of these times. Anyway. All right. Mr. Robot, I'm on episode 4 so far, and I'm really digging the shit out of it. You haven't tried it yet?
Not yet, but I definitely will. I tried the first 10 seconds, and I was like, no, I'm feeling this.
It's a really good first 10 seconds.
It's a great first 10 seconds.
But I mean, as far as atmosphere, it's very social networky kind of thing. Very slick. It's satiric. It's funny. It's dark. It's all these things. It drives, man. It reminds me of like a Breaking Bad for hackers.
I've heard it's very anti-society, but it's kind of against the
but
grain.
it's like But I mean, for me, that's like waking up.
Of course.
I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty. I'm digging on the Rick and Morty. I just got inhaled season 1. Just
there's only what?
I think 2. Maybe 3, but even trying to do it a little bit, it's just so it's funny. Also, kind of middle finger to society kind of thing. It's it's dark, it's satiric, it's kind of a trick on the Doc and Marty thing from but just brought to just insane proportions. They just run with every single episode is just like a tangent. It just goes as far as it can go.
Oh, no, it's awesome. Eric's shown me a couple episodes for The Crate.
The Crate? Oh, by the way, we're back in The Crate!
If you haven't noticed, check it out. If you hear any random birds in the background or planes...
Yeah. It's coming, but instead of being harped by the whole plane thing, I'm gonna feel invigorated. I'm gonna take the plane. We'll get into that. We'll get into that during the disclaimer.
Funny story. So we're gonna deviate from topic here a little bit as per usual.
Yeah.
So I get here, and there's this giant monster of a truck outside, and it's literally cutting down trees. I mean. There are branches everywhere, and the noise. God, the noise.
And the funny thing was this is the exact. It started with him texting me, "I'm coming over And then it's almost exact. And then like the guys were on their bike. I'm like, he's coming over. All right, everybody in front of the house. And they were literally in front of my house and right across the street from me. And like he comes in with this morose face.
Yeah, well,
and I'm like, let's fucking do it, dude. Let's do it with the crate's on fire and it's the end of the world. We do this in the middle of the shit. And he's like, dude, we should just go to our place. And like he's right.
Yeah, let's be real.
It is more professional.
Don't make me into a Debbie Downer.
We did a happy medium, and we waited till all that shit went away. But
here's the thing, guys. I know that the last 2 episodes, noise wasn't the best. You know, and it's still not going to be great this time around.
This is life.
I still want to be progressing and improving.
Yeah, and we'll try, man.
So, I didn't want to do that to you guys. But man, if you just, we were laughing hysterically. Just the irony of it. Who could have planned that better?
No, you can't plan for these things, man. It just has to happen. It just has to happen.
No,
and this is the time where you say to yourself, "Oh God, what does God have against me?" What is No. It's just you just work through it. You just work through it, man. You get through that barrier, you get to the next side. All right. One more thing I got to mention as far as new media. I got to mention The Mermaid and Journey to the West.
Oh, yeah,
the last crate we had, we did a double feature of Stephen Chow movies. He did Kung Fu Hustle. All 3 of them. Just, what a powerful voice. So freaking
great.
funny. Having so much fun with the camera and the shit that's happening. Journey to the West is doing a lot of Chinese like philosophy and mythology, but they do it in a way that's hilarious. Slight plug your ears for a second. When the guy's with the blood shedding out of his neck and he's just telling this story. That's fucking funny. Anyway, there's no way you're going to know what I'm talking about out of context.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know,
Just,
a good technique to use when you're podcasting is to turn to your co-host and whisper something to them.
Yeah. Because it's when you... Well, you don't see my face right now.
You're not part of mermaid.
There's
the flippers and there's the
That's
blood.
exactly what happens. All right. Corrections and clarifications. All right, from the last one, the last podcast we did was about drugs. So a lot of opportunity to get the facts wrong. So... one is, okay. So by the way, one thing that occurred to me was that we need 2 more podcasts one of these days, and you need more experiences, and you'll get them. But 2 podcasts separating good drug experiences from bad ones. Because what I couldn't, there was a point where I'm like, I had this thing with marijuana, and it was like, okay, I get it was spiritual. No. There was some experiences that was like heaven, and there were some experiences like I was at the gates of hell. It was I've never been more ecstatic than I was on drugs, and I've never been
I'm sure Satan smokes a bud every now and then.
Scared within an inch of my life. Nothing scared me in my life as much as a bad trip. So. But we'll get into that. We'll have a podcast called Bad Trips, maybe. We'll see. Okay. Ecstasy, spinal fluid. It's supposed to try out your spinal fluid. That's a total myth. I looked that up. It's a myth.
Interesting.
We mentioned
Wait. So ecstasy. So whether it's good.
I'm not saying it's good for you, but the one thing I mentioned about it drying up the spinal. Okay, so that's a myth. Might feel that way the next day, but it's not necessarily true.
Interesting.
Getting into the statistics on how many people die on prescription drugs. 128,000 U.S. and Europeans die taking drugs. 200,000 have adverse reactions. I don't know if that means it leads to death or not, but probably not good. It's out of my ass, but probably like hospitalization kind of thing.
Got it.
Heroin I think I said heroin wasn't a Schedule 1 drug. It is. Cocaine, amphetamines, methamphetamines, and opium aren't Schedule 1. So marijuana is supposed to be more dangerous than all those things, but just on par with heroin. Look.
Wow, isn't that amazing, guys? It's just
okay. So
it's like as if Donald Trump's running for president.
There was one thing that man. He is. It's okay. So now we're coming to you at the heart of the Republican National Convention, which is this probably needs an episode in and of itself. It won't, but it's fine that we're wearing the red and blue colors. That would make me the Republican because I got an R and I got the red. No.
and me the Democrat because I've got all these random shapes.
Blues and what's this freaking hippie bullshit?
Like the triangles next to the circle, next to the X, next to the square. We're all different shapes, but at the end, we're still shapes.
It's beautiful, man. Okay, so the one thing I was mentioning it, like I was trying to be careful not to mention it because I wasn't sure I was going to out him. But then I say, okay, and I check with him. It's cool. Mm-hmm. John, our friend John, was smoking cigarettes. That's right. He was smoking cigarettes. That was his drug. He just did it for a month. And he was just fucking around with it. And he's an artist, man. So an artist without a cigarette dripping from his mouth is, he's just some kind of a pansy, man. He's a poser. You can't believe a guy like that. No, you gotta be freaking Federico Fellini, and you gotta just be oozing art and oozing smoke and life, and just no, he just did it a little while, and he's,
that nicotine.
He did the right thing. Mm-hmm. He did the right thing. He stopped. All right. One of the things we're going to do to improve our shit, we're going to get a logo going. That's going to be our first investment. Because look, we got the camera, we got a microphone. But we're developing our theme. We're going to have a logo. We're gonna. Somebody just texted me with these guys that we can contact online, where we could look at their portfolios and we could buy shit real cheap. I don't know offhand what they're called, but I will be sure to put that in the description. Everything you don't know about is going to be in the description. All right. So I worked on the logo. He hasn't seen it yet.
I don't know how to feel. Oh, God.
Come on. It's not bad.
Oh,
it's not bad.
Gosh.
It's just a start. It's just a start. Look, I'm just playing with an idea here.
We both look very demented.
Well, all right. So I don't know. I thought like we could cool it down for the one. All right. What I'm thinking is we have to keep I gotta keep my manic crazy side. And if you want to cool it down, what I was trying to do was give him like an arched eyebrow. Go ahead, give him an arched eyebrow. Show him. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It'll be well, actually, that version is a lot more scarier. So you must do the other. When you arch an eyebrow, you do the other one. Anyway, you don't need the arched eyebrow. I don't know. It's just.
I do arch my eyebrows quite a bit.
What I'm saying is, we need the color coordination thing. We need the some kind of fire and ice thing. It's happy, like a happy face, and it's just like it's a little bit of the character of both people. Anyway, it's an idea. It's something we can work with. We're going to be professional. We're going to deal with professionals, and that's the way it's going to work. Is we'll walk away from the camera and the microphone. That's how we do. All right.
Brass tacks.
The theme for today is video game art. Can video games be considered art? Not necessarily all video games, but can a video game aspire to art? So this is something. The answer pretty much for people down the line, the people that play video games say absolutely. And the people who don't play video games, especially the ones that came, they're older than us, that came up in the 80s and stuff, and it's like, it was just, everything was just, just bare bones, something going around the screen and eating dots.
Yeah. And,
a guy jumping over barrels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They don't see it, but now it's like, how complex has video games gotten over the years? How much has it improved? How much has it evolved over the years and things like that? Anyway, all right. So, this is probably going to go too long, but
just let him talk, guys.
So, but this is actually this is kind of fitting because this is the first piece of writing you ever read of mine. I think you read this.
I did
yourself. Okay.
I did.
And it was okay. So. One of the naysayers about the movement was Roger Ebert, who is actually one of my favorite movie critics. You know, he had this show called Siskel and Ebert. I don't know if you've never seen it.
Never seen it.
Okay. So, you know, it was two guys who were very passionate about the movies. They disagreed often, and they would fight passionately about movies. And, you know, like you went there not just to get the information about the movie and see whether or not it was good enough for you to see, but also to see the dynamic between these two people and how they, you know, they complemented each other, they fought against each other. It was beautiful because at its heart were two people that loved the medium, man. They loved it. They dug it. You know, it was part of them. It was in their blood. So he comes out with an essay that basically says the video games can't be art, never been art. He had one essay where he said that it could be art, but never high art. Then he kind of went back on that and said, no, it's never art. And then he might have come around a little bit. We'll get into that later. Anyway,
that's always something that's puzzled me. What's the difference between art and high art and low art?
I think
so. Like when you have like some freaking urinal, you know, that you pick up off the side of the street and write your name on it. That's low art.
We'll get into that. By breaking down what aspects of it apply to, you know, what's the difference between just a run-of-the-mill video game and something that does go beyond. I think you know, it's like, I think that question can be answered in another podcast, and I think it would be a good one. But we're gonna be fucking laser guided for this one. We're gonna come in under time. God damn it, if it kills me, and it will. So here's a guy who doesn't play video games. He doesn't play video games, and he has all these opinions. And when he put this essay online, he fucking got hit like with like literally 1,000 freaking you know, notes. You know, some of them as long as his essay. And I included mine and I sent it to him, but apparently I might have put too many curses in it because it wasn't accepted. And it's funny too, because there were some that where he was just like, you are a piece of shit. It literally said that he's a piece of shit. And he commented something like, well, I guess I'm a piece of shit. So he obviously has a sense of humor about it. But all right, look, if it goes too long, we'll just skip around. You do a little bit, and you know, it's like if anything comes to mind, you know, just stop me anytime. And if it gets too long, we just skip to the end. Anyway, this is how it starts. I say, hey, Raj, long-time listener, first-time caller, fan of your work, actually. I truly love to break down your arguments and compliment all those thoughtful witticisms with my own brand of empirical gymnastics. But as a lifelong gamer, an enormous fan of all artistic mediums, I have to say that this blog entry pisses me the fuck off. So I was literally angry at it. You don't play games. You don't play them. So how in God's green earth can you expect to make a rational argument against their merit? Attempting to judge video games without playing them is like attempting to review a film without a goddamn head. Interactivity is the whole point of the exercise. It's the genius stroke that raises the bar on an emotional experience. Identifying with a character you see on the screen is one thing. Being that character on screen is something exponentially more effective. I feel honored that I have been around long enough to witness the evolution of video games from their advent, and I am humbled by their remarkable, practically geometric growth. The modern production of a really good game, the design, the music, the writing, the acting, the out-and-out, dare I say, artistry of the undertaking should be enough to put the whole claim to bed before it's even an issue. But I won't stop there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Pac-Man is art. Donkey Kong is art. Robotron 2084 is art. Space Invaders is art. They were straight out of the gate because they were able to draw attention, interest, and psychological stake of several generations straight into the heart of the machine with a few well-placed pixels and some preemptive bloops and bleeps. I can't understand how somebody can give Tron a 4-star rating and not understand that. that got him. Yeah. That got him right there.
Yeah.
Of the thousands of games created during the 80s boom, only a relative handful stood out. Already there's the implication that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and the designers, still scraping off the afterbirth of their medium, had to innovate far beyond the technical limitations of the hardware. And even if I was to smooth down my bristling hairs and accept that every single game from that period was nothing but a time waster and mindless and not worthy of who's you what's it, even after they stimulate several senses simultaneously, practically the exact same way that have long accepted art forms, my jaw has to drop at the head-exploding gall it takes to completely ignore the incontestable progress games have made in every single conceivable way since. You're fuddy-duddy. A few drops of the quarter, a few innovative all-shucks jerks of the arm, and the decimation of your player, and not only do you give up on playing, you give up on an entire medium, and I can't think of anything sadder for someone who was basing his entire existence on critical thought. You have made up your mind about video games back at their inception, back when they could be... You could boil it down to the tenets of each individual experience to, at best, a 5 or 10 minute slice. But they have grown, my friend. They have improved. And they are wonderful in ways that I truly don't think you're capable of imagining. Yes, the truth is that both video games and Roger Ebert don't need each other to continue, as I'm sure you both will with relative success. But it pains me to think that we lost a possible ally so early in this battle for respectability, especially considering how much video games have increasingly emulated older brother cinema over the years. I'm sure you had to defend film against the poetry, sculpture, ballet, Shakespearean snuffheads from time to time, and many of those arguments could be easily transferable to the electronic entertainment. I can give you a personal assurance that the appreciation of either one of these mediums need not be mutually exclusive. I have no doubt that a majority of the video game fans you are alienating with your comments are in fact loyal fans of film. But you're caught in a paradoxical bubble from which it would require an incredible amount of effort and will on your part to escape. Games are not worth your time because they're not art. But in order for you to harness the potential to appreciate them, you have to play them. And that would be fine. But you were the one who made the claim. You were the one who decided to reopen this can of worms to base your entire thesis on a single 15-minute lecture designating the speaker as the official emissary of millions of dedicated gamers out there. All right, I'm going to skip to the part where I talk about, okay, just this one last thing. And I'll have a link to it, Facebook, and you guys can read the rest of this. But just one more thing. I don't think it is our desire for validity that is driving force behind the cavalcades of dissenting opinions you've invited into your life. Speaking of my own frustration with your take, and it's not the first time it's come across it amongst non-gamers, I suffer the utter bafflement that stands from the blind-sided double standard. You're telling us that a work of art comes from the collaboration of a bunch of artists. And like our beloved film, we know that games today are not merely the products of programmers and technicians, but writers, directors, set designers, composers, actors, basically anything you could get an Oscar for. But it's not art because you can win the game. That's pretty arbitrary. That's crazy arbitrary. And it's about as reasonable as claiming a poem ain't a poem if it don't rhyme. Drop the mic! Booyah!
We're not going to drop that mic because that mic.
That's very expensive, and it's plugged in, and it's going to fuck up the whole dynamic. We're not going to do it. All right. So
fuddy-duddy though. What a fuddy-duddy.
Here's the thing. All right. So,
wait, real fast. I want to read mine.
Okay.
Dear Roger Ebert, video games are art. Stupid.
All right, so
okay.
Here's the thing. when I said that video games and Roger Ebert would move on, he's dead.
That's what happens.
That's what that you go down. You talking about video games? Honey, I feel horrible.
Karma.
Because this is a guy I really seriously look up to, and he had cancer, and I seen pictures of him without a fucking jaw. This is a guy from my childhood, so like. I should have kept the arguments without being militant, and I know that now. I'm an old, older, wiser, maybe. But that's, so afterwards, he comes up with another essay just saying, look, I'm not saying it's art. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I don't know because I don't play it. And so it's basically that's the crux of my argument, just taken right out from me. But that's the thing, and I'm trying to think of the comic, some web comic like something about quarters. I don't know. It's spare change. I don't know, something. And it was just that. How do you get a bunch of artists together, and they're working together for months, days, months. It's a fully collaborative effort. How does the result of their action not be art? How is that
it's a very good
possible? Point. How is that possible? All right, so I'll let it go. And I let that, it's like the, I still talk to these people from time to time, and it does get me irked, and it does get me talking a lot about it. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like now we're at that generation where to say that only kids are playing video games or only men are playing video games, it's just not true anymore.
Yeah.
Especially you didn't mention Pokemon Go, man.
Talk about relevancy.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done it. I can't do it because I got an iPhone 4 and I'm only at iOS 7 and that's my shit maxed out, and I should pay them. But I'm not going to pay all that money just to play a stupid freaking game.
Me being the young millennial that I am, of course, hell yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I'm actually not playing as often as I should be, since I tout the the geek nerd label. But every now and then I'll turn it on. Walk to the taco truck, turn it on.
I can't wait. I'll be honest. Like I can't wait to do it because I'm walking around all the time, and it's like there's a lot of get off my lawn kind of mentality. But you're going to have you're going to have people socially interacting with one another. You're going to have people walking. I saw a funny tweet about how this game is going to do more than Michelle Obama's fight against obesity did in the 8 years, which is, that's a Republican thing. But that's funny, and it's probably freaking true. It's like anything that gets your kid out walking around and stuff like that.
And boy, is it getting people out. It really is. I'm sure you guys all know.
I think that's one of the reasons why it could be considered art, is because this is a new way of it. I think the one good thing about video games is that it propels us into new ways with communicating with one another, and propels us into new ways of absorbing.
Well, to answer.
Go ahead.
I mean, to answer the question.
Absorbing media. Absorbing media. Now we're not just doing it through the eyes or the ears. Now we're doing it through voice. Now we're doing it through movement. Now we're doing it through the controller. And we're putting ourselves out there. And when virtual reality comes out, holy shit, it's just going to be on a whole different level. And
that's happening, actually. Yeah. I was actually able to, I'm sure you guys are like, what was he about to ask? What question was he about to ask? Okay, I'll get to that in a second.
Sorry.
It's all good. I was at E3 this year. I worked at E3. And actually, I'm
got them all, man. This guy bangs out conventions like nobody's business. They love you.
Yes, they do. So I worked for PlayStation as a promo model, and man, it was awesome to see all the newest games.
Go ahead.
What really stood out to me was, the narrative, how much the narrative is being pushed in games. God of War had that. Very, very strong sense of narrative, character development between the characters. They're spending time, developing each character and the relationships between them. And that's something that, not that it hasn't been around, but it's just they're learning how to do it at more of a personal cinematic level, and it's awesome.
I think that's the thing that most of those people can't get. It's like they're becoming movies that you're a part of, that you make decisions in, that instead of going for 2 hours, go for fucking ever. And television is evolving towards the same thing, where it's getting to the point where media is not just something that you absorb, just in little increments. It can be a whole way of being for hours at a time. People knocking off shows, just being in that frame for 12 hours at a time. And it's not completely healthy. People got to put the shit down, go out and interact with people the same way that they're interacting with this stuff. But I should talk. I can't even do online gaming yet. But I will, damn it. I'm going to get an internet, and I'm going to do it. All right.
But I just remembered where I was going with E3. I totally forgot. I started talking about it and I lost my train of thought. Virtual reality. Virtual reality. It really is the next big thing, guys. Yeah. I mean, it was coming everywhere.
You can't stop it. It's on its way.
It was everywhere at E3. They had, PlayStation VR. And they had so many different games they're showing off with PlayStation VR. It's looking amazing. They're even taking some great titles that we've known, like Batman Arkham and Psychonauts 2. So they're not just going to do gimmicky crap. It looks like they're going to take some time with it. And then they've also got Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift, and those were just 2. I believe they had other virtual reality things. I was not able to. Yeah, you had to, I believe, sign up to do it or something.
That's all right.
So, and also I was pretty much stationed to PlayStation. I didn't have a lot of leeway to really move around and go elsewhere. But
what do you think makes the difference between an average game and an artistic work of art?
Well, this goes back to the question I asked earlier that I didn't finish, and that is, what is art? Okay. Because you have to first answer that question of what is art before you can say whether or not a video game is art, right?
I feel it's a can of worms, but I mean, like, we could. All right, so we'll just deal with it. All right, so here's the thing. I think you have to have some kind of a transcendence from the normal thing. It's like with pictures, with a play. It's not just something that eats up your time. It's not just a dog that you see a picture of, but it's like, oh my God, now it's bringing me in. Like, I've never experienced a dog like this before, or something that's able to make us see things differently. I think that part of the reason why I'm so excited about something like this is because I feel like when we don't have anything else, when we're beaten down by the real tangible things of life, we have art to set a precedence that inspires us. And so not just kind of showing us the direction to go, but also saying, here is excellence. Here is the best people doing what they can to put the best product out there. And it's not just something where it's not just a monetary thing, though money makers can be great art, I think. But I feel like art doesn't compromise. Like, it's not part and parcel. Go ahead. I'll collect my next thought. You go ahead and tell me whatever you think.
No, it's a difficult question. I remember I took an art class in college, and that was a big part of the class, actually, was just simply answering that question, coming up with a definition. In fact, one of the tasks of the class was spend the whole semester coming up with your own personal definition of what art means, which basically shows that it is a very subjective thing.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately.
I mean,
you know, but that's the thing too. It's like because of how deep certain things affect certain people. To the casual observer, they're not going to be able to appreciate things on you know, it's like you got a friend who loves rap disses, and it's like he breaks it down. It's like, oh, you got to know what this line means and that line means and how it applies. Like, oh god, that's a burn, and it's like, oh, that, you know, and so it does break down. And a person that appreciates art on that level, they're absorbing things that other people can't see. And a great artist puts it all out there and says, you know, you absorb it any way you want.
That's it, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. You absorb it any way you want.
But it's out there. I'm putting it out there. It's like the people that are looking at, the people that can pick it up, it's going to be there for you to pick up.
It's like when art is made, is it serving a purpose? Is it trying to get you to do something explicitly?
Yeah.
Or is it leaving things open-ended? I think that is something that definitely ties into whether something's art or not. Because if you think about it, a painting, is that telling you to do something? Is that explicitly saying, oh, go out and you paint a painting or you buy this painting? No. Yeah. Instead, it's evoking an emotion of sorts, right? It's making you think something. And that can go anywhere. You know, whereas if you have something that's purely designed, that's made to meet a purpose, to get you to do something specifically, that's where I would question whether or not that thing is art, if that makes sense.
So,
but I think you can have both and. I think you very much can have both.
I think, you know, I think too, it's like a person can work for something that's like just monetary gain or just like, you know, just base aspects, but is able to do something with it nobody's ever seen before. Oh, yeah. And it's like it evolves, it goes beyond. All right. But
back to video games.
Back to video games. Back to video games. Perfection. You know, and this element of every aspect of it is you know, it's like if you take 5 minutes of it, you get a piece of the whole, but at the same time, you know, there's an elaborative process. You know, it's like every video game now, they have an introductory period where they get you into how you're playing the game, they get you into the characters, and then they build up the conflict. It's like, again, it's like a big movie, and they bring it to a climax, and a lot of the great ones have these great mind-bending twists, and you know, you come out of it.
Bioshock, we're playing that right now.
Yeah,
2007, the original Bioshock. So
timelessness. That's the thing. Great art. It knows no date. You know, the way it's created, it's like I think bad art is derivative. You know, it's drawing for stuff that's already out there. These guys, you know, these guys based it off of System Shock and System Shock 2, but they still, you know, they're using the technology to push it further.
You know what? And we're being relevant too. Bioshock Remastered is coming out in September.
I'm gonna miss out on it.
They're including that, the second one, in Bioshock.
I hope they have some tricked ass.
That's how I can feel really okay about like getting to some of this stuff. You know, years later.
Yeah. Because
it comes back.
I'm like 10 years freaking behind on video games, so that's part. I did that on purpose.
Red Dead Redemption.
He started Red Dead Redemption.
I had played it before, bits and pieces, but I finally decided to commit to it and buy it since it's now backwards compatible on Xbox One. I'm saying that wearing a PlayStation shirt. I love all consoles equally except for the Wii U. I'm sorry, Nintendo, you've got some work to do. But you know, it's my gosh, amazing game. Holds up. It holds up considerably, and that's art. So.
A lot of good games get me crying. Like gets me like super emotional. You know, identifying with the characters so much and drawing into the conflicts and stuff like that. And not to mention,
what's the last game you cried at?
Might have been Mass Effect.
Mass Effect?
Might have been Mass Effect 3. There's some really emotional shit in Mass Effect 3, but also keep in mind, like I haven't been knocking them out the way I should be lately. Actually, too, there's been aspects with
I know one you cried. I know you want one you cried in.
Oh,
I was gonna get there with my top 5.
Fuck, and that's one that I totally have to add that to.
Should we wait or should we?
Let's just, you know what? Let's just get into our top
we'll just do it.
and then
we're
we'll
already at
just
40 minutes in.
We're at 40 minutes.
So
let's get into our top 5. And mind you, like now that I remember, yeah. So Two Brothers, that was the latest, and they were just oh god. Well, and there's another one.
They're probably
it's
like,
not spoiler. Just mention
brothers. What?
The way they use this thing where you're controlling both of the brothers in the game with two thumbs.
Yeah, all right, here we go, real fast. The title is not Two Brothers. The title is Brothers. A Tale of Two Sons. For anybody who's confused out there, I just wanted to clarify that before we get into it.
I think it might be a movie called Four Brothers.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, it's Two Brothers and Two Sons as well.
All right, man. Is that one of your top 5?
It's one of my top 5.
Okay.
Top 5 artistic games are what we consider to be, the best of the best when it comes to art. Not playability necessarily. So, for instance, I mean, Call of Duty's awesome. Halo's, I love those shooters. I love Gears of War. I love that kind of stuff. But I'm not including those games in my top 5 because I don't feel like
I'll say like Modern Warfare has moments in it.
Oh yeah, of course
they're like doing it, and I think
Halo
that's
has moments.
And that's the thing. It's like like how long can you maintain that feeling of I'm fucking doing something right now?
Well, I even almost put like The Last of Us, which I mean he hasn't played any of, but it's amazing. I cried in that game. I'm not cried, but I mean I teared a little bit, and yet I'm not putting it because I don't feel like it's doing something. I feel like it is redefining a genre, but I don't feel like it's making me think bigger about humanity and about philosophical questions and things like that. For other people, maybe it does. But for me, I like to see a little bit of like some artistic design in the visuals itself of the game. Like visuals are huge for me.
I think I've seen like a lot of people recommend like TV shows to me, and there will be aspects of artistry in there, but they don't take stock of where the camera is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like wherever you put a camera, you create an emotional effect on the viewer. And if all you're doing is framing the action, then you're not taking that into consideration. What other games you got in there?
I was going to say visuals and design. If the design is doing something that's kind of revolutionary, if it's feeling,
I'm seeing stuff off of his list, and I'm saying, God, I should have added that.
All right. I think this stuff through. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Great game.
So that's actually 4th. I did rank them actually.
I noticed a lot of the artistic games are shorter than the longer. I mean, a lot of them are. And it's just because it's like, well, a lot of the games now are done like Xbox Live and whatever the PS version is. I'm saying they got a version of the game where it's like, okay, we're not mass producing this. We're just going to put it online and people download it and it's easy. And usually it's not like big tentpole games where it's got amazing production value, but it's got like real freaking artists breaking it down. It's like, how can it make shit happen? God, and another one just came to me right now. It's killing me. I'm just
off of that. I'm gonna say, I mean, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
there's a reason for that. These
indie.
Big companies,
it's indie.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an indie thing.
These big companies have expectations, right? They have to play it safe. They want to keep to that dollar value.
Right.
Right.
Same thing with summer blockbuster movies.
It's exactly the same. It's like all the studios, all the major studios, they're sticking to franchises. Gaming, it's not too different. If something has done well, they want to copy that formula and do it again and do it again.
But it creates that other movement, like with the rise of this thing where nobody wants to risk putting $100 million on a movie that nobody can believe in. You have television rising up and say, okay, well, this is what we can do for $100 million for a whole freaking season. Eat it. Eat it, big production companies.
And some can do it. Like, for instance, Rockstar. Oh my gosh. Grand Theft Auto. Each version
so good.
Does something extraordinary. Takes it to the next level. Even though it's the same formula, it's
intention has so much to do with it. It's like we're, in that love, the love in media and saying, well, all right, we're going to give these guys something new. We're going to give them something new. All right.
So, all right, my top 5. Number 5. I'll start at 5 and I'll go down. Number 5 is Limbo.
That's one I should.
Limbo.
Yeah, that's one I forgot.
If you haven't checked it out, you need to. It's a arcade game. Dark.
It's horror. It's monochrome. Mm-hmm. It has an atmosphere. A lot of these games have atmospheres. They it's like you could do it with sound effects. There's parts of it. It's 2-dimensional basically. And parts of it are absolutely terrifying.
Yes, very much so.
Just because of that frame of mind that it puts.
I was freaked out. I was on the edge of my seat playing that game.
Yeah.
Again, 2D. It's 2D.
Yeah.
And yet, every time I died, I literally jumped.
Yeah.
I jumped because the deaths, they're so unexpected. There's in lots of games you can see it coming. If you're thrown into a mass of enemies, wave of enemies, okay, I'm probably going to die, right? But with this game, you're going along, you don't expect it, all of a sudden, something kills you in a horribly gruesome
when
way.
The video game comes, the virtual reality comes out, and you can feel like they won't put you through pain, but you might feel like some kind of shock of it on your body.
Imagine.
And then I bet you eventually it's going to evolve to the point where you do feel pain.
Oh, you know it will.
They're going to tell. I know Japan's got to be working on a shock collar right now. That when you die, it's like, it's going to cause like all kinds of heart problems.
When you die
and things
in
like
the
that.
game,
And then you die in the game. Oh, God, that's the inevitable conclusion. That's the singularity right there.
Okay, so that's Limbo, guys. Check it out. Dark and wonderful. Number 4, as I said,
short
Brothers.
And cheap too.
Yeah, short as well. It's what, maybe
2 hours?
2 hours?
2 to 3.
I believe most of these games that I'm going to list are about 2 hours. 4 of the 5. Brothers. So, what I was saying earlier, design, very different. It has you play 2 characters at once, at the same time. One control stick controls one character, the older brother, and the other control stick controls the younger brother. Yeah. And as you can imagine, there's so many different ways of playing.
It's almost like like in the game, you have the 2 brothers having to cooperate with one another, and then you have to make your mind cooperate with each other.
That's
you got
exactly
2 halves of the mind, working together.
It's symbolic. The whole game, the symbolism in that game.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. And not going to spoil the ending, but it leaves you with something. It definitely does. And this man here teared up a little bit. But he also has a brother, so that kind of plays into things.
That does work.
So if you have a brother, I've heard
it
does affect things a little bit more. I just have a sister, so all right, just have a sister.
Sorry,
maybe
sis.
If they had a tale of a brother and a sister,
and here is chopped liver.
All right, number 3, Braid.
Yes. One, by the way, one on both our lists, right there. One that's on both our lists.
First one.
And another one where the interaction creates a new feeling, something innovative. The way it's designed makes you think about things the way it has it, and then that becomes part of the theme. Don't want to break down too much. But another thing was that it plays with, it plays with themes from Super Mario Brothers. And things like that, and any kind of platform game, and it makes you look at it from a completely different perspective. It also breaks down the myth of the hero that's going to save the princess, and it breaks it down. It cuts it in half, makes you think about things. Transcendent. It's fucking good.
There you go. He said it for me.
Yeah.
All I can say is that shit deals with time. I mean,
shit deals with time, yo.
It's cool. It's cool.
Drop the mic.
You can
Roger Ebert, suck one.
You can control time. You can make it move backwards and slow it down and stuff like that. So
that becomes part of.
And it's a puzzler. It's a puzzler, and I love
puzzle games.
It's
a mind.
And it's not an easy one.
No,
it's not easy.
You gotta break your brain. Like that's also the difference between a guy who appreciates the game and a guy who's just playing it randomly is the fucking cartwheels you have to go through to make it happen. What you have to go through to get to that point. And then you identify with the character, and then the impact of the ending is that much more powerful.
And I beat that on my own. Let it be known.
You did. And that, I will say this, that's a big fucking deal. Because I had to break that shit open a few times. You didn't get all
no
the stuff.
Googling?
You didn't get all
no
the,
Googling?
You didn't get all the stuff.
Of course not.
Yeah,
I think that's impossible
that is
by
impossible.
yourself.
That's
I mean,
impossible. You practically have to be a programmer to know how that shit works.
Really though. With one of the, I'm going to give a little spoiler here. All right, if you don't want to know anything about the game, tune out. But there is one of the stars you get by rewinding time for 3 real hours. Not
human
in-game
hours.
3
This ain't your
hours.
father's Pac-Man game, man. Dude.
So no, I did not do that. I don't have that kind of a commitment. I'm sorry, because there's other awesome games out there, like my number 2 game, Journey. This is one Eric has not played.
Don't say too much. We'll break it down. I'm gonna. He told me one thing, and that was like make sure you do it online.
You have to.
And so I'll make that the first game I get after. I'm getting the cheap ass. My internet? I'm siphoning it from my landlady. I can't. If I want to download something, I have to move my Xbox closer to the sliding glass door. So with that in mind. What else would you want to add without just be good to
number
me.
2. This one is kind of tight actually with my top pick.
That's fine.
It was very, very difficult for me to decide which one of these I felt impacted me more. I'm just gonna say, Journey. I don't think any other game has really affected me on such a spiritual level. Man, I can't say much, but it's a journey. It speaks to its title. That's all I can say.
That's going to be the first game I play after I'm done with freaking script. Well, I will get my own internets, and I will pay my $40 a month, but $10 here or whatever for Xbox Live or whatever. I'm going to get online, going to play it. What's your number 1?
Number 1, Ico. Or you could say Shadow of the Colossus. Even though what's funny is I haven't played all the way through Shadow.
Yeah.
But I consider these 2 games to be kind of
one
and
the
the same.
Spiritual cousins.
They're very, 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 very close to each other. And
no words. There's no words in the game.
None. No words at all.
You come into this knowing what your character knows, and you have to find out shit. You have to find out how to do shit.
There's such a sense of discovery to it. It doesn't have a tutorial of any sort. You just have to click buttons and figure it out. And you only encounter one other sentient person who's like, like a
and there's stakes.
character.
There's stakes involved.
Yeah,
there's like you
maybe 2,
maybe 2. Yeah.
Maybe 2. But let me tell you, it's amazing what they do off of such, I don't know. It's such a simplistic story. It's such a simplistic idea.
Yeah.
And yet they create this whole game out of it, and you feel
like
there's
it's
so
also
much exploration.
it draws you into a world.
A world.
They create everything. They create every single aspect of this, and so it's like you're in the world. You have to figure out how to interact with it, and there's the rule. You figure out the rules as you go along.
When I was talking about the characters, I was talking about Ico. Shadow of the Colossus, I'm not as informed about, but definitely saw
That's
that.
another one Shadow's another one got me.
Yeah, they're powerful games. They're doing something extremely different. They're not afraid to take chances, and that's what I love about them. And they're not easy. Again, I appreciate that about a game. I really do, especially in this day and age. Everybody wants things to be handed to them.
That's the advantage that games have over, music and not to say it's better, but an advantage over music and movies and things like that is it's not passive. You have to do things. You have to earn that ending. And so you have an extra thing that's like if it's hard, if it's challenging, then you're brought up in the challenges of that character. It all comes down to being able to identify with what's on the screen. Yeah. And video games are coming to a point where it's like, holy shit, it's me in here. It's me in here.
Yeah. I mean, and even with that said, I don't want something that is just going to be extremely hard, where they're just like,
it's
you're never going to get
it's gotta
through
be
this
fair.
game.
It's got to be
You
fair,
know, where,
or else like but that's a balance. That's an artistry in and of itself.
Exactly.
It's allowing you to, it's like, leave it alone. Okay, tension, create it. It's like, hey, you make it.
Yeah.
Hey, you make it.
I recognize also that for some people, things are going to be harder than for other people, and for other people, they're going to be easier. Of course, there's that stuff playing into it. But if it's going to be a puzzle-based game, you got to have some challenging puzzles, something that's challenging to the person with slightly above average intelligence, right? It's got to be challenging to that person because there's plenty of us out there. Oh man, what am I doing? I'm giving myself pumping myself up here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I don't want to appear, as an arrogant know-it-all or something.
My top 5 minus 1 because we mentioned it.
Go for it.
All right. So besides the one I mentioned, I got to mention Gone Home, another indie game that can be played pretty fast. The thing I like about this game is, basically you were just coming back from, some kind of thing overseas. You're just out of college kind of thing. You come home, and your family's not there, and you got to figure out shit. And like you go through the house, and you can pick up any object. You get a story from everything around you. Everything contributes to the story. And then there's a lot of things that you find, little journals and things like that. And it's just like this, the story is so immersive. It's so good. Great game. Portal. I fucking love Portal. I love Portal. Another game. You whip it out. 3 hours. The thing about some of my picks is and that's it's like, where is the art and where is just a good game? But I think the thing is like, it's a puzzle game that it's fucking hilarious. It's got the best writing. Like if you're just playing one level, I was like, what the fuck is this? But not only does it draw you in with the story, not as only have just one of the best payoffs.
This was a triumph.
That's too much.
I'm sorry.
Just rewind. Jesus, don't do that.
Okay.
All right. So, and also playing the game, it's like you're setting up portables. You're setting up portals, and you realize like, holy shit, here's a whole way of thinking. Now you're thinking with portals.
You know what really tastes good with this beer?
What?
Just some cake.
We're going to go to the next one, Mass Effect Trilogy. And it's just, is it Bioware? Is that Bioware? Okay. We both played it together all the way through, and what a monumental achievement. And it's, again, this is a tentpole movie. This is summer blockbuster kind of stuff. But there are no side quests in this game. There are. But everything ties into the ultimate game. The third one became my favorite to an extent because it draws on shit from the first episode. And the way they do it is, you are, every single choice you make carries on through all 3 games. And this is not just, they're not episodes. There are full freaking games that take long amounts of time to beat, and so by the time you get up to the end, there is a crescendo. But I am glad that they revised the ending because people got up in arms about that. But it's like, we got the good one anyway. So the other one, by the way, these are in no particular order. The last one I wanted to mention was Myst, and that's fucking old school. That's like early 90s CD-ROM type games, and it's just the first one where, again, it's immersing you in a world. Do you know anything about that one?
I don't.
Okay, it's Myst, and the game is about a guy who can create new worlds by describing them, and by writing it down in a book. So you go into the book and you go into these other worlds, and then you got to, again, you have problems to solve, and I put it in there not because it's like it's not my go-to. I haven't played it again since the last few times I beat it, but it's it was a groundbreaker. It was just something where it's like, all right, we're going to try it, make a new experience, and I think it put games in a good direction. All right. Honorable mentions. Do you have any that off the top? Okay, go ahead. Let's just rattle them off because we're
near the end. All right, guys. Honorable mentions: The Unfinished Swan, Ōkami, Flower, Little Big Planet, and Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. Those are my honorables.
Okay, and I got Silent Hill 2, Silent Hills, which was never finished, but holy shit. God, if they figured that, if they finished that shit, oh God, that would have been a great game. Guys, Sony, you fucked up. All right? Or whoever got Konami, you guys fucked up. That could have been the shit, man.
Taking this up.
Holy God, was that good. Frightening. I mean, I was just watching, it's like the only thing that's available. Like, you could buy a PS4 with the demo on the console, like somebody copied it on because it's not available. It's not available anymore, and so you go to eBay and you buy a console for like $500 extra.
He's not capable of just rattling it off.
Right.
This is something you have to talk about. Seriously, check that one out.
I started Undertale, and I feel really good about it. Like I just did the demo for Undertale, and I know it's going to be great. A lot of the sometimes a game. Like, I might be halfsies on a game. If the score is good, I'm going to fucking love that game. The Hitman series has amazing scores. Jesper Kid, full orchestra, 50 people, choirs and shit.
Any of the Zelda games.
Yeah. The Final Fantasy series. I've actually gone to UCLA to listen to the Final Fantasy orchestra thing, and I was a fucking cloud nine. I don't think I was ever happier.
Music and Braid is great, by the way.
Yeah,
music
another great game for music.
Journey.
All right. Fallout 3. I just it's like I had to put one of those the games by the other. It's not more. Was Obsidian? God, who are the guys? Well, okay, so who makes Oblivion? Bethesda. Okay, so great games, so well designed. I put Fallout 3 there because they didn't just give you an environment, they gave you a slant. It's like it's all satire. You're in the world of satire. You're in the world of a post-apocalyptic world that kind of held on to its 50s values, and it's so well done. I put Bioshock in there. Half-Life 2, another great game, so well designed. Shadow of the Colossus, the Amnesia series, each one is better than the other. Fucking frightened. The first one is the scariest game I've ever played. Arkham Asylum I put up there, not just because there's no better comic book game out right now.
Except for the other Arkhams.
The ones I haven't played yet. Yeah. And Arkham City's probably, I've heard. But also, there are parts of it that are like, wow, this is some of the best Batman shit I've ever seen. You know how I feel about Batman. Okay. The bridge, we started the bridge. What an awesome demo. Another monochrome thing.
I forgot about that.
Kind of a very Brady.
Very
another thing where you're working with the way they design the puzzles. Basically, you get out of it by turning the whole world upside down. I bet nobody talks about that game, so I'm wondering if it sucks later on. But that's one we definitely have to.
Well, no one talks about Fez either, and that's one I forgot.
That was the last one I had.
Wow,
because I thought about
it's funny because there's this other game that's out right now called I think Monument Valley. We might have to correct that later.
Okay.
But it's on lots of mobile devices, and my sister showed it to me. It's really cool design and everything. It is Fez. It's a complete duplicate of Fez, and I think Fez does it better. Actually, the puzzles are more difficult. Again, go back to the
yeah.
origin,
That's it. It's doing interesting things with 2-dimensional, but also it's like it's 2D, but it's 3D too. Everything turns around.
Yep.
Turns around. Anyway,
I
have Resident Evil 4 on the list, and I don't know if it's art or if it's just one of my favorite games, but it's so goddamn well done, and I keep playing it all the time, so I don't freaking know. I think it's art. I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
He just loves it.
All right, man. Last licks. What else you got? What do you want to add to this? We're coming to the end. Let's wrap this shit up.
Let's wrap her up.
We're good on time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess to end things, I guess video games are.
They're freaking art, dude.
They're art.
And if you don't believe that, I hope you get cancer and die.
So good.
I'm just kidding.
Guys, if you
Roger, I'm sorry. You're great. I love you, but you're just wrong about one thing. You were just wrong about this. It's cool.
Roger's a fuddy duddy.
You'll be all right.
Guys, all I'm gonna say is, don't be fuddy duddies.
Yeah. I got an outro.
I was hoping that could be the outro.
No. I got it.
Don't be a fuddy duddy.
I'm running.
Off. Done.
Stay happy.
Stay happy.
Stay happy. I like that one.
Stay happy.
The happy medium.
Yeah. Oh yeah, happy medium. Yeah.
Stay happy.
That's good.
Well, I mean,
stay happy.
We might have to. We could probably end it right at me saying "stay happy," but just to clarify,
it's good. I like
whether or not you like someone or somebody, or you like something somebody else doesn't. Just stay happy about it. Happy medium keeps you happy. And if you're going to argue with somebody off of media, stay happy about it. That's all I'm saying.
All right. You sold me.
All right. Love you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Rate, like, subscribe, write a freaking comment, please, man. Just please, we're begging you. Anything. Just spew hatred at me. Spew love at us.
Tell us what you would like to see.
Guys, if I know who you are and you're seeing this right now and you're not doing what I'm saying, like, nobody knows about us right now. That's the only thing. We want to put this out there. We're excited about this. I'm happy about this at this level just because, it feels good to get it out. But if people are out there and they like it, tell us what you like about it. Tell us what you don't like about it. We will freaking improve this over time.
We will improve it.
We're going to have a logo, bitch.
Yeah.
It's all coming.
Where we're at right now, obviously, woo, we've got a podcast.
Yeah. I wanted to call this podcast, We Don't Know What the Fuck We're Doing. That's what the podcast should be called. We don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, we're all over the place. We're trying to keep it structured. We've got so much knowledge for you guys, right?
Yeah.
No, we just
got
a lot of opinions.
We want to share.
And
there's no ego here. We want to share with you guys, man.
And so, if it seems like we're just word vomiting at times, you know what? Please put up with us. Right. Hopefully you'll like some of that vomit. Lap it up. Stay happy.